It's been already dusted. In my previous video, I've explained and I have illustrated the difference between intelligence and wisdom. When it comes to your walk by faith, understand the following. The Heavenly Father operates in infinite wisdom. He's the only one who can do that because He's God. He knows everything. He has been around forever. He'll be around forever. The Heavenly Father is the only one who can operate in infinite wisdom. No one else can. And because the Heavenly Father operates in infinite wisdom, that means that the way He views your circumstances and your situation is far different than how you see it. Okay. Let's talk about the nation of Israel. How they went to Egypt with 70 people, and they had a lot of babies with Ethiopian and Egyptian women, and they became a nation, and they even outnumbered the native Egyptians. Now, one of the pharaohs who had no familiarity with Joseph thought to himself, and he was correct, but he wasn't right. He was correct in stating that the Israelites outnumber us Egyptians in our own homeland. If ever there was a conflict between us Egyptians and some other nation, the Israelites, even though they are related to us, they may choose the other side and harm us. Now that was a possibility, but was it probable? Unlikely. Because Egypt was also the home of the Israelites. They spoke Egyptian besides Hebrew. Some of them even worshiped Egyptian gods also. So it was unlikely, but it was a possibility. And to shut down this possibility, that Pharaoh started a campaign of oppression and genocide on the Israelites. It was an intelligent move. An evil move, but intelligent nevertheless. And for common generations, the Israelites were enslaved. Now, ask yourself, if the Heavenly Father selected Moses to free the Israelites from this bondage, Moses grew up in the royal household of Egypt. Moses, as being a grandson of Pharaoh, an adopted grandson of Pharaoh, he had the chance to become the next Pharaoh. Or if he did not become next Pharaoh, he had the chance to become a viceroy or have some high rank in the Egyptian empire. And remember, the land of Canaan back then was dominated by Egypt. Egypt ran the land of Canaan. So why didn't their father just arrange that Moses remains still and quiet, and later, after the current Pharaoh died, Moses would take the throne as the next Pharaoh, or Moses would become a viceroy of the area of Canaan, and then he would lead the Israelites in and force the Israelites to take over. That would have been a more peaceful resolution to the conflict. But look at this. It would have been more peaceful. But who would have gotten the credit? Pagan Egyptian society would have gotten the credit. They would say that it wasn't really God doing it. God was just pushing things. We're the ones who actually did it. We are the ones who got along with the Israelites. And look at this. If that would have happened, the Canaanites would always think they have a right to resist the situation, saying, hey, this is our land over here, our ancestors lived here, and now those Israelites come here and take over. What the heck is that? So, in the long run, the Heavenly Father, in His infinite wisdom, decided to tolerate the Israelites being oppressed for several generations, and then He tolerated to use Moses, who had a bad temper, to cause himself to be kicked out of Egypt. And God used the same Moses in old age to trigger a clash between him and Egyptian society with the 10 plagues, which drained Egypt, forced Egyptians to hand over the well to the Israelites. And once the Israelites were out, God drowned the Egyptian military in the Red Sea. And by doing all of this, the whole world was shocked, thinking, whoa, Egypt has crashed? And that slave population is now the rich nation on the earth. The Canaanites back then thought, oh, we're finished, it's over. They already gave up any entitlement to their own homeland. So who got the credit now? The Heavenly Father. The Heavenly Father got the credit and he was glorified. And because he was glorified, people's trust in him increased. Not for the Israelites that lived back then, but throughout the generations later on. You see what I mean? The Heavenly Father managed the situation in such a way that he will get the glory out of it. Because when he gets the glory, that will benefit us. If God doesn't get the glory, that will be a liability on us. So for our sake, for the human species in the long run, the Heavenly Father managed the situation this way. Well, look at your own life. There are times you were praying and fasting and you're looking for a way to deal with certain things and you thought, man, why does God allow all this to happen? I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I'm not running away. I'm not on my lazy ass on my bed expecting things to happen. Listen, the Heavenly Father operates in infinite wisdom. Of course, the Heavenly Father is intelligent. He is the source of intelligence. He has more intelligence than anyone. But he operates in wisdom. He does what is best in the long run. We are often focused on the results we want now. And I can understand that because we live now. In these bodies on the earth, we live now, so we want results now. And the Heavenly Father understands that you want results now. However, what's more important than results now is to be safe in the long run, is to have long-term well-being. Sometimes God refuses what you want to preserve your long-term well-being. Listen to what I'm saying. Sometimes the Heavenly Father will refuse what you want, even if what you want is legitimate and right. Sometimes, even if what you want is legitimate and right, God will withhold that from you so that you will have better. Maybe, for example, let me make an example. You want to get a husband. You want to get a husband, to have a family, to be part of the community. All right? But you have your ideas of how marriage and your sex life ought to be. So now, when you're looking for a potential mate, you have your view of how you view a potential mate. And based on that, you begin to pray. You want the man to have a good job, to be handsome, to be welcome in the community. You have your criteria. But your criteria are based on how society deformed you. Your ideas are based on what society wants. You've been shaped by society. And society does not follow the Heavenly Father. Society is all about escaping. It's all about chasing relief. So you are actually seeking relief without being aware of it. So let's say now you encounter this man and it clicks between you and him. Why does it click? Because you're on the same frequency of escaping. You're not aware you're into escapism. But it doesn't mean just because you're not aware of it, that's not the case. You're in escapism, he's in escapism. The same frequency. You click. And because he matches your expectation, you think, wow, this is him. You're so in love. Then God sends you some people. God sends people in your life to discourage you from being involved with this man. And he's saying the people God sent can clearly see this is going to be a time bomb. You may say, oh, the guy is a bit introverted. So am I. We have similar interests. We think the same way about things. It's a match. Okay, it's a match. That's true. But think about it in the long run. You both have similar dysfunctions that mesh together. That's why you're comfortable. So your comfort is based on a common dysfunction. your comfort is based on not being challenged. Okay, let's say you get together. You get a ring on your finger, you both say I do, and now you carry his last name, and now challenges emerge in life. His childhood issues come up, your childhood issues come up. Your unexamined expectations come up, his unexamined expectations come up. What do you have now? A bad situation that will only get worse over time. Now, let's say now that before you married this guy, there was another man around who kind of showed interest in you. He was not stalking you nor chasing you, but just showed some sexual interest in you. This man did not match your expectations. So according to you, he was no match. So you discarded him. You thought not interested. But this guy, even though he didn't meet all your expectations, he was safer and more stable to be with. But why did you end up with this narcissist, or why did you end up with this time bomb? Because you never reflected on your own expectations. You operated in intelligence. You saw, I want to be part of society, or I just want to be left alone. Maybe not. Maybe you thought really not to be part of society, but just want to be left alone, and I want someone to make me be left alone and make me feel important. You had your expectation of things ought to be, and you were intelligent enough to chase what you wanted. And when you got what you wanted, you give yourself a pat on the back, and people even celebrated you getting what you wanted. But was the result worth the consequences? No, it wasn't. And it's only later on you figured out, well, it wasn't the best thing. But now you're years into it already. Now you feel cheated. Now you feel scammed. But did anyone actually scam you? No, they didn't. You collaborated with a bad situation because you were not willing to reflect on yourself and to be challenged. Sometimes Heavenly Father will challenge you to improve you. God does not challenge you to break you. He doesn't challenge you to humiliate you. He doesn't challenge you to remind you that He's God. God doesn't have to remind you He's God. The Heavenly Father will challenge you to improve you. But what happens often? When God sends people to challenge you, some of you get angry, get bitter. You say, oh, Satan sent you, leave me alone. Listen. God can use a believer or an unbeliever, whatever He sees fit to challenge you. Why does God challenge you? To improve you. And this is why so many believers end up in bad situations. Now, that example of a female believer looking for a husband and she ends up in a horrible situation, well, it happens with unbelievers all the time. It also happens all the way around that a man wants to find a mate, he ends up in a bad situation. But it doesn't only relate to sexual relationships. It relates to every area of life. I'm addressing believers now. The reason why so many believers end up in bad situations is because they operate by their own intelligence. And didn't the Bible say, trust the Lord with all thine heart and lean not on your own understanding? It didn't say your own understanding is forbidden, that your own understanding is wrong. Even if your own understanding is right, you shouldn't rely on your own understanding. And too often we rely on our own understanding. Now, I don't know if the story is true. I haven't confirmed it, but I can use it as a parable anyway. It was the Second World War, and there was a soldier who was on the run for the enemy. And he was wounded and exhausted. He fainted. When he woke up, he realized, oh dear, they're coming for me. In front of him, there were some small caves. And he crept into one of those caves, small ones. He thought it's just a matter of time before they come and find me. They either kidnap me or kill me on the spot. He prayed to the Heavenly Father that if it's His will, to protect him. While he was there in the cave, wounded, looking outside, suddenly a spider appeared, began to build a spider web. He thought to himself, I prayed, and instead of a brick wall or some other barrier, there's a spider appearing. He felt disappointed. Guess what? He later heard the enemy troops coming, and they were going through the caves. Then he saw a soldier looking right into the cave where he was, and he thought it's over. But then the soldier said, okay, nobody here, we go. And he thought, what? And later he realized that spider that appeared and began and built that big spider web, that spider web tricked the soldier to think, man, there's spider web at the entrance, let alone inside. There may be a lot of spider webs over there. And if there's so many spider webs, nobody's been here. If someone has been here, there wouldn't be a big spider web over here because the spider web would have been broken. So they just moved on. And that saved the man's life. And by the way, apart from that, if a brick wall would appear in front of the cave, that means he wouldn't get fresh air and he would die of lack of oxygen. So what he thought was a solution was not a solution at all. What I'm saying is that, look, the Heavenly Father operates in infinite wisdom. That implies that you will go through some uncomfortable things. But uncomfortable things you go through eventually all work out well in the long run. Maybe you had a job somewhere and you were thinking, man, this is quite exhausting. I want to leave this. And you got another job offer while you were praying to get another job or to get away from the situation, and you got another job offer. This other job was less hours, a bit less money, but hey, you could work by yourself and you thought it's a good offer. But hold on. You applied for that job, but it didn't take you. I think, oh Lord, I really wanted to get away, but then later you realize, hold on a minute, that other job offer that came, it's a bit too good to be true. Right at the time I was frustrated, it appeared. And because I was frustrated, I thought, oh, this is a good option. But now, a few months later, you realize, it wasn't a good option at all. You get me? Sometimes the Heavenly Father denies what you want because what you want is not the best for you. What you want may even bring more issues that you're not aware of. So, understand this. Your intelligence matters. When you drive a car, when you're cooking a meal, when you work in daily life, use intelligence. Train your intelligence, absolutely. But don't rely on your own intelligence. Intelligence brings results. Intelligence is about what's possible and what's probable. Wisdom is it worth it? What's the benefit? What's the point of having enormous intelligence, but to get results that will backfire on you? It happens a lot that people have big intelligence, or you have intelligent people come together and they get things done and they're praised for it, but later things backfire. For example, let's say that you, with some friends, start a corporation together. Well, intelligence. And you become a consultant office, consulting other businesses. And you get many customers. Intelligent, because you realize a lot of companies need some consultants, see. So you thought, okay, intelligent. You got so many customers, so many clients, so many clients, you earned good money. And you paid the taxes also, so there's no tax liability over there. But look at this. Most of your clients used their own business as a front for criminality. And what happened later on? Even though your corporation that you have together with your buddies is not criminal, you've been associated with criminals now, because most of your clients were secretly involved with child trafficking, human trafficking in general, or sex trafficking, or forbidden prostitution, or money laundering. So your corporation consulted them, and by consulting them, you ended up enabling and collaborating with the hidden crime that we're doing. Now, the judge will declare you guys innocent because you guys were not directly involved. So even when the courthouse decides, hey, you guys are innocent, you guys are ruled out as suspects, to the public, it's still going to appear suspicious. How come most of your clients are involved with crime and none of you notice anything at all? And a bunch of intelligent guys together. Well, you guys are intelligent. You guys were intelligent in how to make money in a legal way. And you made money in a legal way. Not with illegal activity like selling drugs or robbing or scamming people. In a legal manner, you made a lot of money. But just because it was an intelligent thing to do doesn't mean it was the best thing to do. So, having intelligence is good. Having wisdom is better. It's the best to have both intelligence and wisdom. And above all, trust the guidance of the Heavenly Father. Do not rely on your own understanding. Be at peace.